5 steps to turn your B2B blog into an SEO machine with Andrea Paternostro. In Search SEO podcast is brought to you by Rank Ranger, the all-in-one SEO platform that helps scale your business through data and analytics. Hey, it's David. Does your B2B blog bring you in a steady stream of organic traffic? i.e., is the content that you publish underpinned by a premeditated SEO strategy? That's what we're going to be discussing today with a man who's a professor of digital technology at SAE Institute Milan, an SEO trainer at Job Farm, and SEO and publisher at Milano Weekend. He's also SEO and webmaster at B2B software house Orion. A warm welcome to the In Search SEO podcast, Andrea Paternostro.
Hello everyone, it's good to be here, David.
Good to have you here. Well, you can find Andrea over at milanoweekend.it. So Andrea, is it still important for every B2B brand to have a blog?
I could say depends. As any CIO consultant would say. I have some steps for a good content lifecycle management that could convince you that it's a good choice for your brand. I work in a B2B brand, a software house, which has very complex software product to sell. And we struggle, of course, to do a lot of competitive intelligence and to understand our market. So I would say that it is important to build a strong brand. And the CIO could be an amplifier of it. But if you don't have a good brand, it would be very difficult to do search engine marketing overall.
Understood. Okay. So you're essentially saying B2B blogs are very important. However, you absolutely need to get your brand right, first of all, before even thinking of having a blog.
You couldn't rely only on the corporate blog for your strategy throughout all the steps, all the stages of the funnel marketing. But if you are good at managing the funnel in the first stage, the attention, the consideration of the potential client or customer, then your salespeople will have qualified contact and the people attracted by quality content that maybe they love. They are willing to download the white papers and other B2B material that could be very useful to drive sales. Anything starts with the absorb phase, as I call it. I am a journalist. I have spent many years of the first part of my career in journalism. So I studied how to conduct an interview. And the quality of the interview that you conduct with your internal or external customers is a great proof of alignment with your business needs. If you know how to ask your people, your top manager or your customer, you know what to ask, then you can do a very good keyword research, because you end off these interviews with a lot of business aligned material.
In your opinion then, at what stage does a B2B blog fit into the customer acquisition funnel? Is it very early on? Is it the acquisition type phase? Or is it later on when someone's heard of your brand, but you're warming them up in order to become a customer?
The early one is very important. And remind that Google call today the customer journey the messy middle. So between the stimulus, the people with navigating on the internet at their laptop, and the sale, so salespeople making an offer and driving a sale, there's a lot of effort that you have to do. There are a lot of stages. Maybe you could pass some months before people buy your product. So the early stage is fundamental, because people get in touch with your brand with quality content. For example, an informative search intent today in B2B is so important, because you answer to complex questions. And also remember that Google has put a people also ask section in the modern results pages. People also ask means that we have to respond to precise questions.
Okay, so you already touched upon your number one point of the 5 steps to turn your B2B blog into an SEO machine, and that was absorb. Can you give us a very brief summary of that absorb process again?
Yeah, for example, there are some action items that you can use. We use as page review triggers. These triggers are selling priorities, for example, which is market-driven point, or product vision. So if you have a good relationship with your board, your top management, you are aligned with their vision. This is a very important trigger of content review. Content review means that you modify existing content and you get often a quick win rather than creating a new content, which is a bit harder effort. Another point is customer journey analysis, because if you perform a good analysis of this at this stage, you know how to plan your content better. And competitor benchmarking, because there are some quick wins that can give you a vision about what competitors are doing. Let's think about site operator in Google, which is a very quick operator, but can let you know what has been indexed by the competitors just in some seconds.
Understood. Okay, so it's absorbing the context of where your blog fits into the overall picture, and that includes your overall business strategy, what your executives are trying to achieve, what content that you have already, just to ensure that strategically the content that you intend to publish is as effective as possible.
Yeah, you know that there are 5 content management actions on every content. We may choose to write a new content, edit existing one, put internal linking, external linking, or trying to drive a backlink to this content. This is my checklist when I need to choose an action about editing or new, and if editing, what I need to do. I need to add a paragraph because I performed better the keyword search. Maybe I talked with my boss, with the board, and I know that the product vision has changed because market changes rapidly and you add the features to your software product, for example. And most of the times you don't need to write a new content to align the website to the business vision. You just need to add the paragraph if you have already a good structure and you can modify an existing page.
Okay, well, those are some great additional steps in terms of how you can define the purpose of your content. But number 2 of your steps to actually turn your B2B blog into an SEO machine is plan. Planning
means that you should prototype faster. Why prototype? Because we need to absorb some good practice from the agile project management way of work. So you need to write less about what you are doing and do more. You know, the agile framework as it works. In the past, tech people, especially, but not only tech people, wrote large manuals and a lot of pages about the product. Now, for example, I gained a lot of insight by developing a side project like the restyling of the support website of my company, Irion, because redesigning the knowledge base, I transformed all the manuals, large manuals, old style, legacy formats of documents into a fresh WordPress installation, a fresh website, which is quick and easy to navigate, as a table of contents, as breadcrumbs, as a lot of things to drive the visit, to ease the life of the visitor. So this is everything you can do to ease the life of your customers and get them more satisfied through content and through a quicker content review aligned with your top management.
So you mentioned WordPress there then. What are maybe 1 or 2 plugins that you are a big fan of that will really help to optimize the content that you're publishing?
Yes, it depends on the project, but I have my stack, of course, and stack analysis is important today because you need to save time. You need to understand what competitors are using and save your time and build your technology stack as fast as possible in order to concentrate on your project. For example, I am quite a fan of easy table of contents because it creates fastly, quickly, and for free a summary of the content. And if the content is more than 700-800 words, it is necessary to drive the attention of the person, the visitor, through a summary. Summary is very important and also have as the CIO benefit of being very understandable by Google, who knows the structure. For example, at Milano Weekend, we have a fixed content, which every Thursday we present the weekend coming in Milan, the events and the things to do. And we always create a summary. Google has a perfect knowledge of what we are doing, the timing when we are publishing the content, and in a keyword for a query, for example, like event in Milano, which is events in Milano, every Thursday we jump at the first places of the search engine results page, which is very, very curious if you think, because Google has learned how to change its search results every week depending on this kind of recurring content that we publish and organize.
So do you write your summaries in a certain format in order to encourage Google to feature a rich snippet?
Yeah, of course, headings too is the most important optimization factor on page relating to the necessity to talk to users when articles are long form. When articles are more than some hundred words in length, you need to drive the attention of people because you can't imagine that people will scroll everything. So you need HTML anchors, which are given by a summary with internal links, and you need to write those titles very well. They should be catchy, but it is better, of course, if they contain some form of the query of the user.
And number 3 of your steps is execute.
Yeah. And that is my love for WordPress because CMS, you need to go vertical on CMS. I have gone vertical in the last 10 years on WordPress. You need to strike, for example, the right balance between quality of visual resources and size of the file, just to ensure a better page loading. There's a lot to do in page optimization and a lot to do with the Core Web Vitals. You know, these new parameters by Google are very important, and you should avoid, above all, I think, the layout shift that could happen if you don't know how to optimize some part of the page. So this is the most technical work. But for a good execution on the CMS, you need a great team. And for example, my one at Irion marketing team, my colleagues, which are creative people, they studied graphic and visual communication branding, but they are willing to learn how to use a CMS. So WordPress is quite simple to use, but there is always something to learn. For example, how to learn a page builder, because hardly ever you can write everything in HTML. So when in a fast-paced content marketing team, you often need a page builder, and you need therefore to learn how to use it.
And that takes us up to step 4, which is reach.
This is very, very important. Reach or distribution or spread, you may want to say, but the important thing is that today a company or corporation has so many digital channels to manage, so many. So how to strike a balance even here in this case? The CRM, for example, the CRM may help you a lot because the customer relationship management software could give you a conditional navigation path, for example, depending on which kind of person is entering your website, which is a quite sophisticated form of automation if we think that is sort of a new topic in the market, but it's gaining so much attention by marketers. For example, you sent me a link of a previous recording here, and the colleague said that automation was their Pareto Pickle, and I've chosen one, but I've been forced to.
And that takes us up to step number 5, which is analyze and restart.
My advice is to quantify your content lifecycle team effort, which means in order to speak with your top management, with your board, you need an internal sponsorship by managers about the budget in time and in resources for your marketing team, your content team. So how to gain the sponsorship? By letting them know that you are quantifying, you are measuring how much time is worth a content for a better production, and all the time of the people involved in it is necessary to track, because it is a good way to talk with your CIO or other stakeholders. Now, my second advice is don't report too much. Instead, give insights. So it is quite unuseful today, I guess, writing too many long reports. It is better to synthesize, summarize, and trying to give insight and visualize information. The traditional reporting structure is maybe unfit for this so fast period that we are living in.
Great. Love the advice there, because first of all, well, your second tip there, a lot of SEOs get passionate about so many different metrics, but of course, most of the company don't know what they're talking about and get turned off by that quickly. But your first point about actually sharing certain metrics with people is important as well, because if you can share how many page views or how many people discovered someone's article, that'll get them hopefully excited about writing more articles in the future. So just share the right metrics, and could be very effective for you. Let's move on though to
the Pareto Pickle.
So Pareto says that you can get 80% of your results from 20% of your efforts. So what's one SEO activity you would recommend that provides incredible results for modest levels of effort?
I'd like to say my Pareto Pickle is competitive intelligence, because we perform so many tasks on page, and we have little time usually to see elsewhere. But this is so important, and there are some quick wins like Google operators to see pages indexed by the other websites, or tools which gave, for example, time machines, which keyword have had a better ranking of the competitor or a lower ranking in a certain period. No? Let's say the last 6 months, my direct competitor, how performed, which has gone well or bad for them. Also the MarTech stack analysis. You should always perform analysis on the stack that people use on their website, especially if they have success. So you should try to perform a reverse engineering on what people use for their website. So for me, the analysis of competitors is something which takes a few hours a week, but gives so many insights.
Great, yeah, and I guess giving more feedback to other people within your organization as well as to what your competitors are doing, and hopefully giving them some tips as well. Not necessarily directly in relation to SEO, but your whole MarTech stack. If you can give an indication as to maybe what a competitor is using for perhaps some kind of chat tool online or something else, then that's certainly keeping up with them and hopefully bettering them in the future. But I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole too much there. I'm just going to say, I've been your host, David Payne. You can find Andrea over at milanoweekend.it. Andrea, thanks so much for being on the In Search SEO podcast.
Thank you, David. It's been a pleasure.
And thank you for listening. Check out all the previous episodes and sign up for a free trial of the Rank Ranger platform over at rankranger.com.